Hello everybody, it is your boy Get Off My Beard, and today guys we're going to be making a currency system inside of Unreal Engine. And today guys, one thing that you're going to need to do is have some icons ready for what we're going to be making. I've already got these ones right here. It's going to be the gold coin texture icon. I've also dropped the PSD in the description below, as well as this entire project for you guys to go ahead and download in case you would like to follow along that way. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. So first thing you need to do is make sure that you've imported these images. Once they are imported, you are good to go. There's definitely some other things you could do to them to make them a little bit crisper and things like that. However, we're not getting into all that stuff because that's not what this specific tutorial is about. So from that point, the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go into your third person or your first person character, whichever one it is, and you're going to open that one up. And we're going to need to make a variable, and this is going to be the name of the currency that you're going to have. So you could have any type of currency you like. It could be gold coins, it could be crystals, it could be scrap metal. Honestly, whatever you decide is totally fine. But I'm going to call this one coin currency. And then we're going to make this be an integer like this and hit compile and save. Now this will be the default amount that your player has, and it's totally up to you if you want to give your player some to start with. I think I'm going to, so I'm going to give my player 100 to start with, okay? And that's all we need to do in the third person blueprint for now. Next thing we need to do, we're going to create a new folder, and this one is going to be called UI Widgets. Widgets, and assuming you already have a project that you're working on, you've probably already got a folder called something like this, and you'll have your health bar, you'll have your current level, any quests, things like that in there. But we're going to go ahead and create a new widget blueprint, and this one is going to simply be called currency coin widget. Inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and there's two different ways you could do it. The first way that I'm going to do it, I'm just going to do it the most simplest way as possible. Drag an image onto my canvas panel, and then we need to go ahead and anchor this somewhere. So I'm going to anchor it to the left-hand side of my screen on the bottom, and then I am going to get rid of all of the position information on it for right now. And then under my brush, I'm going to go ahead and select my coin icon that we just imported. So you guys should make sure you're selecting the PNG, as you can see at the very bottom of the source file, and not the PSD. You can see that the original texture was 512 by 512. So you can just start basically dividing that in two to be able to get it down smaller and smaller and smaller and that sort of thing. Make sure to click on size to content, just makes it a lot easier. And we can go ahead and, we can go ahead and start moving this up onto our screen. This could be as big or as small as you like. Doesn't really matter. But this is a good point to go ahead and double click on that coin icon. You're going to click on Chroma texture key, and you're going to make sure this is set to black. As soon as you do that, you're going to see that disappear. Hit save, and you can adjust the settings to get it to be more or less depending on what you're trying to do. But as long as you put it in there, you'll be good. And you can see here, it's now got a nice transparent background around it. So again, we can go down as small as we like, as long as it's the same size, because it is the way the texture was built. So 55, 55, and you can see there, that's maybe a little bit small. Let's try 75. Whoops. Yeah, I like that a lot. So make sure to position that exactly where you're going to want it to be. And then let's go ahead and compile and save that. Now from here forward, we're not going to really be messing with that, so we'll just name this gold coin icon. And the next thing we need to do is drag in some text. You can position it any way you like, before, after, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Just put a number in here. I'm just going to put 500 to start, but make sure that it has room to be able to continue to grow if the person in your game gets more and more cash money. And then you're going to go ahead and position and anchor that to the bottom left as well. And you'll click on size to content. That way this will just grow by itself. And this is where you would do any adjustments that you might want to do to your color for it or anything like that. So I think I'm going to choose the same yellowish color tone. I'll hit OK. And then I'm also going to make sure and go to, let's see here, click on that again, the shadow color, and I'm going to put that at 1 so that it comes up, and you can see by zooming in on it, it actually has that nice shadow on it. Okay, so that looks really good. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to bind this by clicking on create binding. It's then going to come over here and it's called get text, but let's rename that. Let's rename that to gold coin widget return. Something simple like that should work. Now we're going to be breaking this connection, but instead of just breaking it, we're just going to type in some other things to be able to use for it. And you'll understand why in a little bit. But basically, we are going to cast to our third person or first person character, whichever one you chose. Make sure to drag off and get the player character. Okay. And then as that third person character, you want to get currency. And make sure to click on get coin currency right here at the bottom. Okay. Now the next thing that you want to do is you want to make sure that you can convert this over like this by clicking on it. And this is now going to, basically what this script is saying is that whatever my third person character's gold coin currency is, I'm going to display it in the binding. So you're going to want to put some integral information in here. So minimum of 3, it just keeps your spacing looking good. And probably a max of 324 is fine for right now. And go ahead and hit compile and save. Now, this is looking pretty good. The only thing is if we hit play, it's not going to be on our screen yet. So what we need to do is go back to our third person blueprint and open that up. And we're just simply going to, there's a couple of different ways you could do it. We have not yet used event begin play, so we will use that for now. But one of the ways I like to do it is create a custom event and call this, whatever UI element that it is. So, for instance, this one could be currency. Oops, if I could spell currency UI. All right, and then you would build whatever you're going to build off of here. So let's actually do that. Let's go ahead and create a widget. Okay. And we'll then select the widget, which is the currency coin widget, and we'll just add to viewport, and we'll make sure to connect that up right there. Okay. And we'll also go ahead and bring out our event begin play, and now you just need to type in here currency UI, and you just call all of your functions in a row on your event begin play. But this way you can keep everything nice and clean. We'll go ahead and comment this, and we'll just call this UI elements, and then you could drag this down, and let's say you have your health bar in here, you've got your ammo bar in here, you've got all the different bars, and then all you would do is create one custom event that then uses a sequence to go down through them later on. But this is good for organizing right now at the beginning. So if I now hit the play button, it still says I can't do it because I'm editing a color, and that's because I'm not actually editing anything, but I've got to actually save this, go into my widget, go back to my graph, compile, save, close that down, hit the play button again, and you can see it is now down here in the bottom hand corner. But we do have a little bit of an issue, and the problem is that we only have 100 gold coins. But that's cool, and we know that it's working because if we go into this, it says 500 by default. But we know that on our third person character, which was over here, that the default value was 100. So you can set this to whatever you want as a default, and it's going to show up, which means that it is working, and that's what we're wanting to know. So good job on that. Now, the next part of this becomes a little bit more tricky, and you have to make a decision on what it is that you're going to want your player how you want them to get your currency, and then also not only how, but then what can they spend it on. So let's worry about the first problem, which is how are they going to get the currency? I'm going to make something really simple. So basically, I'm going to use this exact same documentation type of actor, and I'm going to go create another folder, and this will be currency pickup. I'm going to create a new blueprint class, and I'm going to call it an actor, and it is going to be the currency coin pickup. I'll go ahead and enter that. I'm going to add we'll just add a sphere into this, and I'll go ahead and go into this basic shaped material. And actually, let me do it this way. Let me drag this one over here, and then I'll drag this one over here. There we go. Now, let's go to our icon. Make sure that you grab that PNG. I'm just going to drag this into here and plug that into my base color. You'll see why here in a second, but basically hit apply. And normally you would create like a custom material and do all that, but you guys can do whatever you want, use whatever static mesh you like. This is just a quick way for me to be able to do that. So you can see here I've got a mesh, and it looks pretty decent for what I'm trying to do. Oops. So I'm just going to give it a little bit of depth so that it's kind of like a round coin. I'll then go ahead and add a rotating movement to this. And if I were to hit simulate, it just spins on the ground just like that, which is exactly what we want. I'll then go ahead and add a sphere collision on collision. All right, and we'll scale that up. It's probably somewhere, yeah, about like that. That's pretty good. Now on my event graph, I'm gonna go over here to the right, and on component begin overlap, the first thing I want to do is cast to my third person character. Okay, make sure to hook up other actor. And now I want to get that currency again. So I'm going to get currency. Okay, and the reason that we want to get the currency is because we also want to come over here and hit set currency. Okay, now this setting of the currency we're going to do next. This is the next step, so that's what's happening. But then we're going to need to get a random amount or a set amount for each coin pickup. So I'll show you how to do both. If you want to do a set amount, you would simply drag this out and you would go plus, so integer plus integer, and you would drag this into here. Okay? So what it's doing is it's getting the current coin currency plus whatever you put here. So let's just say 15. And then we're going to set the currency here. So that's going to be new. And then we would destroy the actor. Okay? And that's cool. So hit compile and save. And whoops, wrong one. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to my pickup, and I'll just drop this over here in the world. We'll hit play. You can see I started with 777. If I go over here to this coin and walk over it, it gave me 792. So we know that it's working because if we did the math, 792 minus 15 is 777. So that's how you would do a set amount, okay? And you could do several different ones, different pickups. You could just duplicate this pickup and then change this portion for 5, 10, 15, 20, and then you would just spawn the one that you want whenever you want it. But I prefer a different method of doing it, so let's go ahead and change this back to 1. And we're going to break this connection here, okay? And we'll spread these apart a little bit. And we're going to get integer, integer in range. Let me just type in range. There we go. We're going to do an in range, or random integer in range. Okay. So you're then going to plug this up into here, and it's going to be +1. You don't actually need this part. You could just get rid of it, but you want the minimum part to be definitely listed in here. And then you're going to put a maximum. So let's just say the max you want somebody to be able to pick up is going to be, 35. Okay? Which would actually be 36 because you're plussing 1. So if you didn't want to plus the 1, you would just bypass that entirely, and boom, now you could just do anywhere from the minimum to the maximum. But I like to keep it this way because it seems to work really well for me. So now when we go into, let's do this, and actually real quick, let's go back to our third person blueprint, or your first person, whichever way you put it. Let's put this back to 0, that way we can see this working in action, okay? And then also real quick, I'm just going to type in keyboard R, oops, and we're temporarily going to use this to simply set the coin currency back to 0. And this is only for debugging, because we want to be able to test how this is working. So if we go over here and we pick up a coin and it looks good, we've got 10 coins. If we hit R, it'll go back to 0. The reason is because I'm going to pick up some random ones here. So I'll put one over here, and then I'll put one, say, over here. So this is what I mean now. So if you go over here, you can see I picked up 4. If I reset that back to 0, this one was 6. If I go back over here to this one, that one was 29. And they're all going to be randomized in different orders. There's no set motion to it. And it seems to work pretty well. So I think it's a pretty good way to go. But you could use any method that you like. So now that we have that, and we have a way for our player to, oh, and also it will work if you just, oh, now he's got 14. Oh, well, we can add more to that. 32. Oh, look at that. 33. Okay. Now we need to actually buy something. So we're going to go back to our currency, or I'm sorry, to our content folder, and we're going to create another folder called currency items, and I'll just put 2 and buy on there. Just makes it easier for what I'm trying to do. Let's go ahead and create another blueprint class, and I'm going to make this be an actor. And again, this is where you have to decide, what is it that you want to be selling? Do you want to sell a gun? Do you want to sell, you know, ammo? Whatever it is you want to sell, this is where you would be making that specific thing. So me, I'm going to sell, quote unquote sell, the opening of a door. Okay, so I'm going to put door to open. All right, I'll open that up, and I'm going to add in a static mesh. This one here, I'm going to go ahead and just set it to, let's just say this cube here. Okay, and then I'll go ahead and size this down like this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I like that a lot, actually. And you could throw a material on there if you like. It's, you know, kind of whatever you guys want to do with that. But I'll just put this on there. I don't think it's actually gonna, yeah, there we go. That's cool. Compile, save. Let's go ahead and add a box collision on there. Okay. And we'll size that up real quick. And if you guys want to know how to make a door, just in general, I'm just going to fly through this right now, but I do have a tutorial already made on that, so you guys can look that up. But in this specific case, I'm just going to basically destroy the door once it's been paid for. So completely different than the other tutorial, but you could easily integrate this. So we're going to go ahead and click on our box collision, and we're going to do on component begin overlap. Okay. And I want to go back to the viewport, and I want to add a text render. Okay, and up here I'm going to put to open, oops, I'm not typing, to open door, you must pay, let's say 35 gold coins. That sounds pretty good. Center alignment, I'm going to take this whole thing except for that text and rotate it 90 degrees. Let's see. Oops. Oh, it's because it's all attached here. Let's take these and put them to the default scene root instead. Then we can rotate them individually. All right, cool. Take this text render, and we'll move this forward. And let's go ahead and extend this box out a little bit more. All right. So now that we've got that, let's go ahead and keep doing that. Let's put this here. So let's say that we want to be able to get into this back area. There we go. And we'll move this one back here. There we go. So now if we play, let's say that we want to be able to go back into this section, but we can't because we can't afford it right now. Cool. So on the box, on component begin overlap, we are going to cast to our third person character again. Go to the object, other actor, and once again we want to get currency. Now, this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting. So what we want to do is first we want to branch off of this, okay? And our branch needs to have an integer value come off of it. So what we're going to do is greater than or equal to. So it'll be a forward arrow and then equal sign. And then as we said, it was going to be on our text here, it's going to be 35 gold coins. So we need to have 35 gold coins or more. All right, and this is how a branch works if you guys have not used one before, which you should because they're pretty common. If this condition is true, then we can do something. Or if it's false, we can do something. So if it's false, we're just going to print string for now. And up in the corner, it's going to say not enough coins. All right. But if it's true, then what we want to do is set, oops, if it's true, then we're going to come off of our coin currency here. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to come off our third person character and we're going to set our currency, our coin currency anyway. And that coin currency, which is this, is going to come off of true. Okay. And then we're going to duplicate this guy. And we're going to make sure the target is still here. And we're going to make sure that we can do this by going here. Now in between here is very important. We need to minus, oops, on our integer a certain amount. So we're going to minus 35 coins. And then we'd be setting this back to whatever the current coin currency would be. So this should be working. But after we've set it, we want to destroy the actor entirely, which would mean that the door then disappears. So let's try it out. So we'll go ahead and hit play. Let's go over here to the door first. Oh, what? Not enough coins? Oh, I guess we'll have to get some. Oh, we got 12. Is that enough? No. Oh, it says we have to have 35. Okay. 13. 28. Do we still not have enough coins? Oh my gosh. Alright, so here's what we're gonna have to do. Let's try this again. Hopefully we can get 35 coins by these random ones. Still not enough coins. That's okay. So here's what we'll do then. Just to make this way easier. We'll go back to our third person blueprint. And now instead of resetting it back to 0, when we press R, we want to get our currency, and we're going to plus, let's just plus 35 to it. Hit compile and save. Now when we hit R, we get 35 coins, and you'll see it just keeps going up and up and up. So now we have enough coins to purchase it, and it disappears because in our code we destroyed the actor. So with that, guys, that is how to build a basic currency system inside of Unreal Engine. As I said, I am going to go ahead and upload the content folder for you guys that's going to have the currency icons as well as the PSD if you'd like to make any edits to that or change that, and it's also going to have all the code done for you. Let's go ahead and change this. I'm going to change this to currency UI widgets, only because that way they're all lined up here for you guys nice and clean. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you did, make sure to leave a comment down below and let me know. Like the video, guys, and make sure that you subscribe for future content. It's been your boy Get Off My Beard, and I'll see you guys next time.